Hey guys, how's it going? So today we are here with Nick
What's up, guys?
and Tujin,
Hola.
and we are comparing between the NAD M10 versus the Hegel H120. And both of these units are fairly similarly priced. I think the Hegel H120 is 3,600 Canadian and the M10 is 3,500 Canadian. So they're basically the same price. In terms of functionality, both are all-in-one units that can stream, has an amplifier, preamplifier. So all you need is this and a pair of speakers to get you going. And so both are fantastic. Both don't have a phono stage. If you want an analog system, you have to add it onto it. So those are the basic differences. The NAD M10 is physically smaller, and the H120 is slightly bigger. Again, physical differences. So here I'm gonna show you the actual products for your eye enjoyment, eye candy, and then we'll go and give our initial impression between the two. In fact, we did actually hear a lot of tracks between back and forth, so I think our initial impressions are very, very valid. And in fact, we measured, we had it volume matched with an SPL meter.
85 decibels?
At 85 decibels, so we were playing it pretty loud. And we also switched them back and forth fairly easily because one was connected to, the M10 was connected to Nick's phone, and the H120 was connected to mine. All we had to do was switch back and forth the speaker cable and have the other song ready. So it was like an immediate difference that we can hear. So there you basically have it. Oh, and one last thing. Nick bought the M10 for himself, and he brought it here to compare it with the H120, which we have it in for review. So there's that, and so let's start with Nick. Oh wait, 1 second. Let me show you the unit. So the top is the M10 and the bottom is the H120. I must say I like and dig the look of the M10. Alright, so let's start with Nick.
Yeah.
So Nick, what were your impressions?
So, like Jay said, I purchased the M10, so you may think I had a little bit of a personal bias towards it, but truth be told, I expected the Hegel to just steamroll over the M10. The M10, obviously we're looking at Class D amplification, though it's using a Hypex N-Core amplifier, while the Hegel has that sweet damping factor and a really nice Class AB circuit. That being said, from just listening, I didn't expect the NAD to kind of compare so favorably to the Hegel. In terms of just kind of general sound impressions, in terms of the bass region, I found the Hegel to have a little bit more warmth, a little bit more of a pleasing tone to it, while the NAD was a little bit tighter and a little bit punchier. The kind of song that this was most notable, we were listening to Billie Eilish, Bad Guy, and like my chest is still recovering from just the punch of the NAD. In terms of like the higher ranges, the mid-range treble, I did find the Hegel to be a touch smoother, a little bit more inviting, while the NAD, it was leaner in comparison, but it had a little bit more focus on like just vocals and individual elements. But really where the Hegel took it over the NAD for me was the soundstage presentation. It just did a much better job spreading the kind of song out, giving it breathing room, while the NAD was a little bit more focused and a little bit more narrow, but still not bad at all.
So at the end of the day, which one?
At the end of the day, I would say, even putting my personal biases aside, I think I'd go for the Hegel.
So
it
what
just
made
had a
you
more
buy
agreeable
the
tune.
NAD in the first place? Like, what was your reasoning?
So my real reasoning for the NAD was my listening room is primarily in my bedroom. I don't have a lot of kind of real estate. So the NAD with its form factor just sat really, really nicely on my desk. I like just the touch screen, some of the more modern aesthetic to it, and
so you're basically saying if the H120 had a better look to it and was a little bit smaller.
I'd pick the H120.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So Tujin.
The H120 and the R3s is like a match made in heaven. I feel like it really took everything that the R3s had to offer and presented it. That being said, the NAD has more control over the bass and it's a bit more punchy. But overall, just the Hegel with the top end and everything and the power reserves, it definitely showed when we were playing music with the Hegel. One thing we noticed was when the high frequency started clipping the NAD with Bad Guys. But overall, between the two, you can't really go wrong, especially if you're trying to NAD with other speakers. But from what I've heard with the Hegel and the R3, it was really good.
Really good synergy.
So your choice.
Oh, I'm a sucker for the NAD's look and the footprint. Quite honest, I would probably get the NAD.
Okay, but in terms of sound, just purely sound.
Pure sound Hegel.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Ah, God. Okay. Still not getting used to the vlogging style. But anyways, so here's my impression. And I think I forgot to mention that we used the KEF R3 speakers for this specific comparison. So the Hegel H120 I'm pretty familiar with. I've been listening to it, part of my review. And then Nick says, oh, I bought the Hegel M10. I look at the pricing, it's almost exactly the same. What?
You said Hegel M10.
Sorry, NAD M10. And the pricing is almost exactly the same. So I was like, okay, bring it in. Let's do an A/B test. And so we did it, and we did it properly. And I was like, in the beginning, I was like, okay, a Class D amplifier. I don't care if it's Hypex. I don't care. Hegel is probably one of the best amplifiers I've ever heard. It's gonna blow it out of the steam. And then here comes the M10, and it's tiny. Compared to the Hegel, it's tiny. And I hold it in my hands, and I'm just like smirking. I'm like, get out of here, right? Don't, you need to do this right now. But immediately, when we started playing, the first thing I noticed was that the Hegel H120 had a larger soundstage. And that's the first thing that I noticed immediately. The second thing I noticed was that the H120 was slightly more warmer. But what I didn't expect is that the NAD wasn't totally stumped on. And the NAD had really tight bass. And for someone who wants a bit more intimate type of experience, who wants a little bit more focused, better imaging, that's what the NAD does. And by no means am I saying the Hegel doesn't image. It's just that the NAD was much more in focus. Each element within the song was more in focus.
I didn't expect to even notice that. I thought they were just going to sound the same. Like, I was going in and be like, whatever, an amp's an amp. Like, how big of a difference will it do? But the way they were just portraying the music was like, whoa.
Yeah. Hey, I'm speaking. But anyways, all of us went in thinking Hegel was going to blow it out of the water. It didn't. But, okay, again, I'm kind of dragging on. So, bass, I think, hands down, if it had a little bit more power, I would pick NAD. Mid-range, the tonality, the smoothness, I prefer the Hegel. The treble, I prefer the Hegel. In some songs like Liberty, by whatever her name is, and I'll put it in the description. Yeah, I'll put it in the description below. And we played some demanding tracks like Hey Now by London Grammar and so on and so forth. And on those peak notes, where the vocals were just getting there and the trumpets were just getting there in your ears, about to get bright, the Hegel never got bright to me. The NAD, on the other hand, just inched over, and sometimes it kind of bothered me. So there's that. So I would have to pick Hegel for myself for mid-range and high frequency. So at the end of the day, what's my choice? Very tough call, but I still like the Hegel. And perhaps, okay, I know these two guys are a fan of that blue meter.
Oh yeah, the view.
The view meter.
The NAD's really entertaining to just like watch while you're listening to music.
It's just more modern.
Yeah.
But I know these guys are a fan of that, and I am. But at the same time, you have to realize that I work with a lot of Macintosh gear and have owned a lot of Macintosh gear. And when I look at these little cute view meters going, I'm like,
no comparison.
That's cute. That's cute. Do I like it? I don't know. I would rather have like a black plain look. I like it when my gears disappear. So there's that. So there you have it. That's basically our comparison. My final choice, Hegel. Okay, so
so we got 2-1 for
2-1. But in terms of
Hegel,
sound, if you're looking for sound, it was 3 out of 0.
Yeah, I'd say overall sound. Yeah, Hegel's.
So there you have it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.